Por favor, un aplauso y bueno.
Hola. Bom dia, buenos días. Entonces, soy brasileña. Hablo muy bien portuñol, pero no hablo español muy bien. Entonces, voy a hacer en inglés, pero entiendo, comprendo español. También hablo un poquito, consigo mezclar un poquito portugués con español. Nosotros vamos a nos entender seguro, ¿ok? Pero, ¿por qué vivo en Amsterdam? Trabajo también en muchas universidades, como maestra también en music business. Todo mi material es en inglés. Entonces, esta presentación que también hago en todos los lugares del mundo siempre es en inglés. Entonces, me siento un poco más confortable en inglés. ¿Estás bien? Si no entiendes, pregúntame, pregunta para Giovanni también. Nosotros vamos a nos entender, ¿cierto? Okay. So it's very confusing because it's the first time I am actually for a week in a Spanish-speaking country, and I realize that I understand everything, but when I go and I speak, I try, and I'm like, I actually can speak a little bit Spanish, but I make so many funny mistakes that I'm afraid of being here and making these very interesting mistakes that, Portuguese is so similar to Spanish. And I say a word that makes no sense to you, it's completely different. So I prefer to do it in English. And then if you want to ask me questions in English is okay. If you want to ask me questions in Spanish, it's also fine. Okay? Great. So I'm here to talk about the contemporary music industry, which is a very complex industry as well. But first, I will introduce myself so you understand why I am here and why I really want to share knowledge with musicians, with students in like music schools as well. So I'm gonna talk a bit about myself. Well, I'm gonna sit right now, and then just because it's easy to change here. So it's really my passion to share knowledge about the music industry, because I've been working already for so long, and I feel there is a gap between like the venues or concert halls, the market, and the artists as well. So for me, it's very interesting to be there to share what I know about the industry in a very didactic way, but it's just one way that I'm showing you how to navigate this industry. You can find your way, but I will here share a way that for me, how I see this industry. So it's not that you have to follow what I'm saying, but it's just like, if you want to follow and then find your way to navigate, it's perfectly fine. But I will give you at least a way to navigate this very complex industry. So I'm Brazilian, but I'm based in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, in Holland, already for 12 years. But I've been working my entire life in the industry. So now I work at Bimhuis. Bimhuis is a renowned jazz club in Amsterdam. So we have concerts every day. So I work there as a project manager. So I also have this experience of being on the other side as well. But not only working at Bimhuis, I also am a teacher in 3 different conservatories in the Netherlands. I only teach about music business only. And besides that, I mentor many musicians as well. So the mentorship is really one-on-one. So I have a lot of information about what are the struggles that musicians have, or what are the things that are not clear about the market, or that can be challenging as well. And that's actually, my whole presentation is based on my view, but also on the experience of the musicians I work with. And trying to already give some information from someone who works in the other side as well, which is in a music venue. So besides that, I'm also like a expert in different projects in Manchester as well, the Manchester Jazz Festival. I'm one of the mentors of a talent development project. Sorry, my voice is a bit, I'm a bit tired with my voice. So. Well, I work in these places, okay. So my background I want to share, because it's important to know why actually I'm doing this. So this is my dad and me, so I love singing. Although I'm an amateur singer, for me, I'm not a stage person unless I'm talking to you guys, like giving lectures. This is my place, but otherwise I'm really backstage and I'm completely fine and I like that. But music for me is really a connection between me and my family, my dad, especially because he's also a musician, and that's me here on the left. Really, like, I don't know, I think I'm 4 years old or something, I have no idea, but already traveling with my dad in festivals. So I grew up in this environment. But I wasn't sure that actually, I realized later that I was working in this industry already for, like, since I was born. But then I realized later, oh, I actually can work professionally on that. So I always say that I've been working professionally already for 17 years in the industry, but I've been there the whole life. So 17 years ago, I realized that I can actually work on that. But why I'm saying that? Because my heart is in music. I understand the mentality of also artists. My mom is also a poet. But at the same time, I am someone who really likes more the practical part, the business side, and that's actually the combination I like to show as well, that the business is not only like the business, it has to be like business, but it can also be like with the heart in there as well. And that's what my mission is, to try to show this connection. Okay, so I have here some information about me, and I think it's important to tell you something about. No, here. Yeah. So I have it's not here. So I have my own agency that's called Tami TM. So besides working in this as a teacher and as in a venue, I also have my own agency that I do tour management. So that's why I'm here in Mexico. I'm doing the tour management with Juan Santa Mendes and her large ensemble Grande. And besides that, I also have people working with me to do all kind of social media campaigns for musicians. If you have like a release coming up, you have a tour happening. And so I will try to give as much information as possible, but my experience is really broad in this, also because I have my own agency. So I want to be clear about this masterclass because you will see I'm someone who gives a lot of information, really a lot. We will have time to talk, we will have time for questions, I will try to help you, but you will see that I give a lot of information. But the important thing is that everything I say here is just a way to navigate this industry, okay? So I don't believe in format, like you have to do it like this, if you don't do it, you're out. I believe that there is a format you can try and then customize into your own way of doing it. Okay, so it's just like, it's just a possible ways. And I want to talk about this 3 nets rule because I really like this. I use this for many things in my life. But I don't know if are you familiar with this kind of concept of 3 nets rule? It's a kind of, like you have the 3 nets. The larger one is the exploring part. So to explore, what is to explore? You know, when you are curious about things, there's no judgment. You're just like a kid, you know, a kid, like a niño. Everything is nice, everything is cool. and there's no judgment yet. You're just curious about things. So the exploring part is really like motivation, dreams, what moves you, and also like, well, let's be curious about things. You don't have to decide anything because it's a process. And then the second part is the refine, to make it, it's almost like a reality check. So you have your dreams, your curiosities, you think about a project. So you have maybe a band and you think, I would like to do this with my band, I would like to record this, I would like to do that, I would like to tour somewhere else. So this is all part of your motivation, your goals. But then there's a moment where it comes like the reality as well. So that's why the refining mode is like, do I have the time for that? Do I have the budget for that? Do I have the skills to do that? How can I then work on having the money to pursue my dreams or to pursue my motivation? Or if I don't have the skills, how can I work on my skills? Maybe like what we were talking about this, that many musicians during the pandemic also decided to study to be a sound engineer or something, because you start doing things yourself at home and you're like, oh, I miss these skills, or would like to learn a little bit more about these softwares or something. So this is also like, do I have the skills? Oh, no, I don't have the skills, but do I want to develop them? Or no, I want to hire someone. And then the latest part is the last part is to define or to decide. Then it's what are you going to do, when, how much, all these things, okay? So why I'm saying that? Because this masterclass is not, I don't want you to put you in a position of defining things. I'm as an invitation to explore. So let's be curious about the concepts of business. Let's see what it is. You don't have to define anything, but just let's see what it is, okay? Open mind. And then this 3-net rule is also very interesting because a lot of my students, they use this for composition as well. They are like, oh, Tami, this 3-net rule I use a lot for my compositions, because as a composer or as someone who wants to compose, to create original music, I start thinking immediately the final result. And I forget that I can just explore the ideas without judgment, and later you see, oh, let me listen again to what I recorded or improvised or what I wrote. Maybe, this is actually a kind of nice, interesting melody that you understand? So they use a lot also for that. But in this case, I put it here just because I want to say, like, it's an invitation to explore the music business, okay? So let's remember this, that there's no need to feel like, oh, I have to decide everything, I have to do everything. No, just let's see. And we are together in this masterclass in this next 1 hour and a half. So we can also think about all these ideas together. But so my idea is not that you master anything, it's just that we create a safe environment here so we can talk, we can share ideas, I can help you maybe with tips. And my main thing is that in the near future, in the future, you think, oh, I remember this, Tami said something like this, or I've heard about this thing before, so that you are not completely like, where to find information, what is this? Everything is super new and I don't know where to go. Okay? Are we together here? Great, perfect. So, but everything is okay? Okay. Okay, so, all right, great. Yeah. Giovanni. Yeah. So please don't be shy. The important thing is that the message is going to you. Okay, so if you have any problem with my English, if you don't understand, just raise your hands. I try my beautiful portuñol. No hay problema. Okay, good. So I want to give an overview of what I see, how I see the music, the contemporary music industry. It's just a way that I created for myself, a didactic way so I can teach, because it's a very complex industry. So I thought, well, why not then to create something so I can show how I see it. So first of all, I call this the musician solar system. And it's the middle, like the center of this solar system is this big yellow dot. That is you musician or you artist. You have to practice, you have to study, you have to be creative, you have to do everything that is needed to be an artist or to be a music producer and everything. So you have to, it's really about the craft as well, right? So I get these questions a lot. Tami, what do you think is more important? Is the artistic part or the business part? I always say there's no more important or not. The only thing is that you can think is, if you're not a professional musician, maybe not all these planets around will exist, all these tasks, these tarefas, okay? But if you become a professional musician or a professional in the industry, you coexist with these tasks, even if you don't want to. So it's not more important or not, we just coexist the moment you are professional, okay? So, but it's still, for me, it's like if there's no yellow dot, if there's no you there as an artist, the tasks, they don't exist. So the core is that. But the moment you're a professional musician, then actually those things exist. And I think this is one of the most important things for me when I teach is really, I can send you also a PDF afterwards with some parts of this presentation, not the full presentation, but because the first time you see this solar system is like, oh my God, there's a lot, too many things. But now you know, now you saw. Next time you see it again, you're like, okay, I've seen this before. But now it can be a bit scary. But there's a logic also why I place these tasks in this way. So the inner circle are tasks that are more connected, let's say, to you. Let's think about selling yourself, vendas. See, vendas. You have to sell your project. So you can also, you have to approach people to sell your music or something. You always can think, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Or I feel like why people would listen to my music, why people would need me. So there are a lot of things that are very uncomfortable in this business as well. And also there's like this networking part. Are you familiar what networking is? So networking is, like there are events about networking, but what you're doing here as well is already a network. So it's like meeting people in the industry, understanding who is who, and really expanding the contacts that you have in the industry. This is networking, but can be very scary as well because you're there, you have to present yourself to people that you don't know. Maybe you have to talk about your project and you're like, why should I talk about my project? So all these tasks in the inner circle are somehow kind of, we feel a little bit like there's a lot to do with personality as well. And tasks that are a little bit, it's more like the mindset. So our mindset can be a little bit like too emotionally connected to what we do. So, and the outer circle, so all the tasks is like how you present yourself to the outside world. So it's social media, digital presence, your audience. Do you know what is your audience? If you have a band, you know, what kind of audience can you expect? Are they young? Are they not young? They like jazz? They don't like jazz? So all these things. So this is just a way that I see the contemporary music industry. Does it make sense to you when you look at it? Any comments? Someone wants to say something? Yeah. Organization and administration. So let's say you have, you are a freelancer, let's say. you have to do like send your invoices. Oh, I even spoke Dutch now, factura. Well, we have all the languages in this room. Yeah, so really like organizational part, okay?
I have heard that the least people like is to notice they are being sold something. So how would you recommend to present yourself and your product without people thinking that, this guy is trying to sell me something, so I will just stay away from there.
Yeah. So I didn't lose my tooth, no. No, it's a very interesting question because, we always think that we are taking something from others if we are trying to sell, but actually you're giving. You don't have the power to take anything because it's a very clear thing. Let's say I work at this house, this BIM house, the jazz venue. There's no way that you can go to my colleague and say, you have to book me, otherwise, if he doesn't want, he will not book your project. There's no way. So what you can do, you can just think, I present myself and I have the right to do that. But he also, or she, or they also have the right to say no or yes, because it's a very clear position in the business. So I would really think, I will present myself in the best way possible. I will have all the materials that I think is important and the way that I should present myself. That's my duty as a musician. But more than that, you cannot force nobody to book you. So think about that. It's a mindset. So that's why here I say that in this inner circle is a mindset. Because you're connecting like, oh, I'm begging for work. I'm like, oh, please give. You are presenting yourself. You're giving the information that is needed. You are just giving. You're not taking anything. So it's a mindset. You cannot take anything. Okay, so my tip is that, and it really works, if you put yourself in this, like, I have my project, I have the right to present, but I understand as well that the other person has the right to say no or yes. Okay, then it's clear. No harm done. All right, more questions? Yes.
I have a question, but maybe in Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay. Cuando ya tienes el contacto de la persona,
Sí.
digamos, ya fuiste, no sé, a un proyecto que tiene y ya tuviste la oportunidad de hablar con él directamente
Sí.
sobre el proyecto,
Sí.
¿de qué manera sigues teniendo el contacto con ellos? O sea, ya que lo tienes, ya de que dijiste, soy Félix, tengo tu número, lo pasamos, ¿de qué manera ahora darle continuidad?
Sí. Yes, a very interesting question. It depends. If you're trying to book, let's say, well, let's give an example, okay? We'll give you different examples, so I will try to react to your question. So you have a project, so you have your trio, and then you have a project, and you're trying to book, or we say book or sell this project to different places, right? To different concert halls, like venues, like a club. So you can try to contact them, and if they don't react to you, or if they don't react like saying, wow, I really would like to book your band, we have some ways to do what we call the follow-up. So you can send an email again, a reminder, another reminder, another reminder. ¿Estás claro? But it depends if you're just saying like, I just want to keep my contact warm, I don't have a specific project, then the best way to do, I don't know if you still do it here, sometimes it's nice, well, just follow on social media as well. Or if you have like a newsletter, I still like to get a newsletter. I save the newsletters that are very important for me. Newsletters, you know what it is? Email con información sobre los proyectos, o qué hacen. I save many times the information because I'm like, whoa, he's working in a new project. Great. Let me save later, I read. So it's also a way to keep the contact. Mm-hmm.
So you prefer to have the email of the artist or of the person instead of the phone number?
social media is important, but phone number, you will just call. There's no way to keep them on the loop of your things. You're not going to say, unless you have a broadcast list on WhatsApp or something. But WhatsApp and calls and phone are just more like, I call you, or I have this project, or I've sent you an email and you didn't react to me, so you call. Well, I don't know if you do this anymore, the signs of calling, but yeah, you understand. So if you have let's say it's your first contact with this person, you got the phone. The nicest thing would be maybe you send a message saying, I got your phone, can I call you to talk about my project? But the phone is a little bit sometimes invasivo. Porque tienes que llamar solamente si necesitas. No, hey, then it's telemarketing. Okay? ¿Estás claro? Email is good. Email is good as well. Mm-hmm.
What's your way to keep these communications without being, no sé, como molesto?
Sí. Tienes algo que me gusta compartir, que es polite persistence. Polite, polido, no sé, polido, y persistente. ¿Cómo hacer los dos? Polite persistence. So you can always send a reminder. I will talk about that. If nobody reacts, what you can do and ways to do it. But yeah, you can be still persistent. There's no problem in being persistent, but polite. Sí, tengo alguns dicas, tips. ¿Cómo es que?
Consejos, diferentes
Tips?
consejos.
Sí, consejos. ¿Ok? ¿Podemos seguir? Ok. Pero me gusta mucho que pregunten, ¿bien? Me gusta mucho de oírlos también. So, my lessons, I have lessons about everything like this. We don't go in depth about all these things because it's really a year of teaching and that's not the case here. But since we are talking about bookings, which is selling, I'm going to go into these bookings here. Okay, deixa eu ver. ¿Dónde estás? Aquí. Bookings, okay, as vendas. I will show you something here that is good to know. This is more for the jazz scene, but this is also for other, it works the same way for other departments as well. So there was a little research in Europe now, saying how you, jazz promoter, discover new artists. First of all, they said 77% said personal industry recommendations. What does it mean? Someone, a colleague, talked to this person. Someone, a journalist, talked to this person. So it's really like mouth to mouth. That's why networking is important. That's why presenting yourself is important, because people talk. Oh, did you see that band? You should really check them out. Oh, I've heard this band, so this works also very much. Sí, pero es para la industria de la música. So it's really for the music industry, and then you can apply for showcases. So you can showcase your music to professionals in the industry. So programmers, journalists, that's a great way as well. But also just being active with the band. So playing festivals, playing everywhere so people see. That's what they said. But interesting enough that 60% said, oh, I still read emails. I find out about new bands when I receive an email. So it's very interesting to know that it is still possible. Sometimes they do not react immediately because I know we get hundreds of emails every day. It's very difficult to keep track of everything. But it doesn't mean that we don't read. Sometimes we just don't have the time to react to everyone. But it's there. So I always like to say that. Well, and then after they hear about your band, so let's say you send an email and they check your email, and then what is the next step they do? They go and they want to see a video. They go to YouTube mainly. 44% say, well, I like to go to YouTube because YouTube I can hear the band, I can see them, I can get the vibe of them, like how it is. So for me, it's more important than Spotify. Video, good video. Then the other thing is also like website. Who has a website? Guys. Okay. I also took a very long time to have a website. But why they go to the website if they are really interested in you? Because they want to know how you present yourself as well, or what is the information you are sharing with everyone. It's like a curated information. So like my website, I put the information I want people to know. If I don't want them to know, I will not put there. Or, so I really take care of how I'm profiling myself on my website. So, sorry.
It could be like a link tree.
No, no.
So you will say the visual attractiveness of the website is a big.
It's not the visual. It's not the visual, but the information.
So
Really, the information.
even if the website is a little bit low quality.
No, you should not aim for low quality.
So I should invest in a great quality website.
Yeah. So the thing is, think about that. They don't know about you so much. They heard about you. They went to the YouTube and they're like, interesting. I want to see more about this artist. They will go to your website and then they will read the information about you, because it's better if you Google me, there are many different information about me that sometimes I don't know if it's true if I Google you. Maybe it's like, well, maybe it's not him, or. So when you have a website, you are like curating the information, but mainly, what is the message behind this? I am an artist, I'm a musician, I'm a professional in the industry. I know what I need to be professional and what people need from me. So a good website, good videos, good photos, a good biography, really the text, everything kind of professional, it gives already the information like, this musician, he's serious about, he knows that this is important as well. So it's also about the message that you give immediately already to the professional in the industry. Okay, so I will not say, go for whatever website. No, there are many platforms that you can create very nice websites. Wix, I don't like so much Wix, but Squarespace, you have also WordPress. You can buy WordPress like web hosting. You buy a domain, so www.tami.com or .nl in the Netherlands. So then you can create a website. It doesn't have to be perfect for now, but just think that someone who is reading will sense something about you. So that's important. And why I'm saying it's important, because we do check websites. Because if you go to Instagram, I don't know how is your Instagram, but it makes so many different things. Like maybe it's your dog, maybe it's you traveling, I don't know, to the beach and have a good time. And I'm like, well, I don't have time to see those things. I want to see your project. I want to read about. And then you go to the captions, and the caption has a lot of emojis. I don't know anymore what I'm reading, all the hashtags, and then I get confused. So website is clean. Okay? Yes.
¿Recomienda las redes sociales dividirlas en una para profesional y otra para personal?
Not necessarily. not necessarily. I think it's very hard to separate. But when you have an Instagram, let's say, account, you always should have a professional account, not a personal account. A personal account, you can choose like the privacy. Let's say people cannot see your things unless you accept that they follow you. But as a professional account, you don't have this power. But it gives you another thing, is that when you have a professional account, you can get access to insights of your account. So insights about your audience, who they are, what they are doing, what time they are online, what kind of posts they are liking the most about you. So this is important also because the whole thing is if we think about the logic behind this, like extremely logical, of course, like my personal account, let's say, a personal account. I will not place ads, so pago, como é? Paid ads, ads like advertisement, promotion.
ya, sí, promoción, publicidad.
Sí, promoción pago. No hace con las cosas personales. Let me do a campaign here because next week I'm going to have dinner with my family. You don't do that. This is a personal account. That's why you don't get access to check. Because you don't schedule posts as well there, because you are not scheduling posts for like, oh, I'm going to a wedding next week of my cousin, you know? It's a different purpose. When you have a professional account, you have access to many tools that are important for professionals. You can schedule posts, you can check the insights about your audience, you can see who they are. With a personal account, not. So the question is not like if you want to separate them, but always for professionals, I suggest to have a professional account. The kind of content you want to create for yourself, like you can also think, people connect with people. They don't connect so much to product. Still, if you want to think through really like all your content, pensar mucho sobre el contenido, tienes que hacerlo de una forma también muy personal, pero profesional también. I have 2 accounts on Instagram, but because I work in English, so I have my business account. I do everything in English, and I have my personal accounts that mainly is my family, and they don't speak English in Brazil, so I write everything in Portuguese. But it's a lot of work to have to. But in my case, I'm not an artist, so I don't have to profile myself like this, so I can separate. But sometimes it's nice. It's just a way of having a structure that works for you, okay? But in any case, I would say do in the professional account, so you can get insights about your audience, right? Okay. Let's say I want to show a dilemma about bookings, just so you know you're not alone, okay? Because I've been doing this masterclass everywhere in the world, and I always ask, like, if I have the time, let's say, maybe the next time that I come to Mexico, I can do, like, I send you, like, a form, and you can fill in before I come so we can see the results. But I've been doing this when I have the time, when I have more time to prepare, like... But let's see that we are not alone in this. When I try to sell myself, I feel I'm begging for work, like, por favor, por favor. Sí, por favor. Okay. And wait. You see, this is like a whole book about this. But the results, let's see the results. Look, I made a mistake in the colors when I asked them. I could not change. So agree is blue, not sure is red, and then disagree is the orange. So it's a bit confusing, but that's why I wrote here. So 28% say, I agree completely. I feel I'm begging for work every time I try to sell myself. I feel terrible. So 28%. 33.3 say, I'm not sure, I feel yes, I feel sometimes yes, I feel sometimes no. So, well, you see, that's much more than a half of them say, oh, that's something I think sometimes. That's very hard for me. And then disagree is 40% saying, I disagree. I don't think that's the thing for me. I don't feel like this way. But you see, the majority actually feels the same. So I want to just to show like some parts of the answers here. Why they agree with that. So there's always something forced about selling oneself because naturally we tend just to be, I don't understand if I understand completely here, but yeah, it is like I'm forcing someone to listen to my music, even when they don't ask for it. And I have to be 100% sure my music is just right to their needs. That's a bit awkward sometimes. And then if you see disagree, so disagree with that. Say, no, I don't feel this way. I felt like this once. I've learned over the years, this is just another part of my work. It's a matter of giving yourself the value you deserve. It's funny that my perspective on this matter changed the minute I became a father and needed to work not for myself but for my family. It automatically became a lot easier for me to sell myself. So you see, when you, and also another thing, I would just say something here that even the people who say I agree, if I ask them, but look, what advice would you give to a musician in this situation, your colleague? What would you say that is facing this? I would say that instead of saying like selling, one should see it as sharing what you can offer. The same person saying, I feel this way, I always feel begging, but if they talk about someone else, a colleague, please do it. Your music's great. You don't have to, not 100% of the people need to like your music. Just do it and see what comes out. So you see the perspective, that's what I wanted to show, is that it's really a mindset about yourself. It's a fear of rejection, it's about self-judgment, it's about a lot of things. Because when you think about yourself, you say, yes, I feel like I'm begging for it. But if you say, well, your colleague is making music, is working so hard, and like, I don't want to sell because I'm feeling, do it. Just offer, is sharing. The same person. So here I just want to say that in 100% of the cases that I've been doing this form, this question, always when you put on the situation where you're giving advice to someone, you are saying, just do it, don't care. You have the right to share your art. Don't think about that. If they don't like it, there will be someone who will like it. But for themselves, they are like, oh, yeah, well, I don't feel like I'm begging for work and all these things. So just to show you, it's a mindset as well, this fear. And many, many, many people feel the same. Okay, so saying that, let's go to more practical parts of the bookings, because I think that's also an interesting thing. So I have these questions that I said that are real questions from my mentees, like how I create a structure in booking a tour. So first of all, I can also share this, okay? You can take pictures as well, but maybe I can send to you, right? I can send to you, right? The PDF. So, but what I like to show here is just like a structure of bookings, because sending an email or calling is just one little part of it, because sales is a strategic thing as well. You have to be well prepared for that. So just like sending out emails, it's not just the way to do it. So first of all, I like to say bookings is really there are many tasks. First of all, I always like to say, keep track of other artists. So a good thing to think is, if there's an artist and you think, if the venue, if the concert hall booked this artist, I might have a chance as well. But then you as an artist, I cannot tell you that. You as an artist can say what overlaps, what is the thing. Like, let's say, oh, maybe it's the same vibe, it's the same style, it's the same kind of, I don't know, artistic direction. But what you can do is to really see like the bands, maybe they are a little bit further than you. What are they doing? Where they are playing? This is extremely important and nice to expand a little bit more about, like not being always playing in the same places that you always are playing, but really thinking, oh, there are some other places that maybe another band found out, and then you can maybe also approach the venue. Okay, so for me, it's very important, like with my experience, so I can tell you something like, as a booking agent, I'm a booking agent for one artist now, and he's a Brazilian artist. So what I did was, we are doing a tour, and I will make a list of artists, Brazilian artists performing in Europe that I know that had somehow like a collaboration with this artist at work in the past. Just 1 second. And then what I saw is that, let me see where they are playing. And I start finding out about all kind of different festivals and venues that I didn't know. And I start approaching these venues saying, look, I saw that João Bosco played there 2 years ago. That's why I found your venue. The artists I represent would fit very well for your festival, I can imagine. Because he also collaborated with João Bosco like a few years ago as well. So they have this and that. So I know they have a space for that kind of music as well. So that's a great way to keep track of all the artists and see what they are doing, where they are playing. Also, there's social media. Check what kind of social media, what kind of posts. Is there anything that you think, it's really cool, it's really nice? Write down or save, I don't know, the post and try to understand why you like it. This also can help you to get inspired. Yes.
Para hacer un booking, ¿hay un específico o es un poco más de se deben llevar a cabo algunas cosas que deben llevar todos los bookings?
Sí,
¿O
sí.
es más como
No, sí, no. Tienes, voy a mostrar, sí. So another thing that is very important is to define the reason and time. And why I'm saying that, reason and time? Well, the reason can be, let's think about different reasons why you want to perform, why you want to play. Tami, I have a band. We don't have a new album, whatever, but we have a band and I want to play. Great. We call this random gigs, just like gigs around, fine. Tami, I have a new album. I recorded, I'm gonna release, so I want to do an album release tour. Okay, it's an album release tour. I would like to go and do an international tour. Okay, so that's an international tour. So it's also to have some clarity in your mind, also helps to write a better email, because if you don't know what you want, it's very difficult for the other person to also understand what you want. If you don't know, I will not know. So the reason is very important, even if it's just like, I just want to play. That's fine as well. And the time, why time? So it's also something like, I just have a band. So let's think about the scenario. I just have a band and I want to play. Okay, then you can think about, I want to play whatever time I'm open. If there's an opportunity for me to play, I want to go. Okay. There's another thing. I have an album release tour. Okay, then you have a very kind of the time frame maybe is a little bit different, because if you want to do a release tour, you probably are going to do when you release, right? Not before the release. So you have to have in mind, I'm planning to release in September. Okay, so I can try to find gigs, concerts or something from September on. Right? Then you have an international tour, which is very specific. So I'm here doing an international tour. Juan Santa, many months ago, and Perla wrote me, Tami, do you have time, can you block your agenda in April, the last 2 weeks of April? And I'm like, oh, okay, to go to Mexico. Oh, yeah, oh, great, amazing. Let me fix my agenda. And then I had to like, hey, teacher, can you teach in my place? Because I cannot be there. I go on tour. So it requires some organization, right? So there's a very specific time frame. It's not like, well, tell me just come to Mexico for one thing and then come back. No, it's not possible. So that's why it's good to think about reason and time. What is the reason and what is the time frame? And why I'm saying the time frame is important, because there is something in sales, and that's reacting a little bit to your question, that is about the idea of the scarcity. Algo que no tienes mucho es limitado. ¿Sabes? Is the important alarm? No problem. No problem at all. So think about that. Let's say, now I'm disconcentrated. Oh yeah. So think about this time. Why we say reason and time? Why time is important? If you just say, I want to play in your venue, whatever day, whatever time, just hit me up, I'm going to go there. We tend not to take action immediately because we feel like, if it's not that urgent, let me put the urgent things first. So that's why I always say time is also important. Even if you're super available, you try to do. And I would tell you a story like, it was so funny, the story. I got caught my own thing. So I have a friend, he's a bass player, and he did an audition for a musical of Lazarus from David Bowie. So what happened was he got the job, and I'm like, wow, great. And then I knew he got the job, and I saw everywhere in the Netherlands like, Lazarus, buy your ticket now. And then I saw like 20 days, 2 days later, everywhere that there was this kind of flyers was sold out, like, no hay ingresos. We're like, wow, that's great for him. And I was like, wow, in 2 days. And then 2 weeks later, I saw 20 more concerts, 20 more performances. Buy it now, book it now. Because it was sold out so fast, we opened 20 days more, like 20 possibilities. And I texted him, Mark, how great for you, you got another contract. He said, ha, Tami, my contract since a year ago is for 60 concerts. But it's a marketing thing. They will not say, hey, 16, 2 years, whatever, buy when you want. People don't buy it, but if you say, there's only 20, you do it. 20 more, because it was so that, I have to get right now because I didn't get. So what I'm saying is, if you still open this feeling of missing out, it's not there. So it's just like, you don't have to say, I need this day, but it's to have like ideas. Let's say if you have a band, you want to perform, you have like many days open, you say, Tami, I can play tonight, or I can play also next week. I'm fine with that. It's just local. But you can also say that you're looking for dates, you're looking for possibilities to play. It's still like before the semester, before the summer. So you can narrow down. You can say, I'm open, but I would prefer. Preferably, I would prefer. So you give already an idea to someone this will be like, before summer. Okay, so I know where to look to. Okay? If it's too open, people tend not to. It's just like the human brain works like this. So that's why marketing, they do that. Limited. I have to have now. And then you see that's not limited at all. But you had to do it because you fear of like missing the opportunity, right? So another thing is also like to prepare sales material. So I will show you, and I can share with you this template of like sales material, because somehow it comes like with what I developed that together with programmers in the Netherlands. Like, what exactly you need? Tell me, because nobody knows what to send. Musicians don't know what to send to you. You also don't tell what you want from them. So what is this? So I try to make it as clear as possible for everyone. And then another thing is also like, if you want, you can create some email templates. Why that? When you are relaxed, fine, open mind, you're like with your mind completely fine, you write emails and you think, oh, it's actually good. But if you have to hit send, the send button, you will start like, oh, maybe I'm writing the wrong message, I'm writing the wrong words, maybe I'm not too clear, or maybe I'm too details. Then you know that it's just a fear of, like you're second guessing. But when you have a template already, you say, well, I was fine and I did this and it was great. So fear is just talking to me right now. So it's just another trick that is good. Then you contact the selected festivals and venues. So this is when you are going to contact, send emails and everything. So you see, it's a part of the process. You know already what you want. You know what's the time frame. You know already, like, this is the sales material that I want to send. This is maybe I found out about this venue following other bands, so I can do it. So you understand? So it's a very strategic thing. And then you keep track of the emails sent, like what the emails you sent. Did you get a reaction or not? If not, what can you do? I'm going to give you some tips on that as well. And then the other thing is also the follow-up is like trying to get the gig, like sending again the email. But also one thing that I like to say, and for me it doesn't stop the process of bookings, don't stop when you get the gig. Because also another thing, especially like if you're dependent on ticket sales or something, if you want to have a good connection with the venue that booked you, you also have to take into consideration helping with promotion. So it's not like I disappear after getting my gig. No, it's really like, I have these videos, I have this. Do you have also like social media that we can do maybe a joint campaign? So it's really take the responsibility on that as well is important. Well, then I'm going to show a little bit about what I like to do is just to have an Excel sheet with all the contacts. If you don't have yet, that's a very important thing, especially to manage your contacts. We are in people's business. We are in people's business, so it's very important to have, to know the contacts, and then maybe it's exactly this. Oh, I have just the phone number. Oh, I have the email as well. So maybe now and then I can send a newsletter or something. So create a contact list. And here you can keep track of all the artists. Another thing that you can do if you want to work, like to see where they are playing. So bands that you think, oh, they're really like bands that speak to my music. What you can do is also to go online and see where they played and where they are going to play. Soundcake is a website that you can find a lot of information from the past events. So you can also do that. And if you want, I don't know, I have some tips in Europe. But let's say this Europe jazz, I don't know who is the jazz. It's also not like only jazz venues or festivals, but it's really interesting to know what kind of festivals and venues exist also in Europe. This is Europe Jazz Network, so you can find also in countries what kind of venues and festivals there are. So I want to show you here what is the ideal portfolio that the programmers get interested in. I will show you this. So this is what I developed together with programmers. First of all, they are checking also the quality of the material you have. Why that? The quality of the material you have will actually help them to promote your concert, to promote your activity. So if you don't have a photo, if you don't have a video, it's going to be really hard for them to promote, because nowadays is everything social media, like pictures, videos, everything moving, and so high quality stuff. So the quality of the material you have is important. Another thing is also about the branding, image, and message that you're giving. So what kind of photos you want? What kind of vibe you want to give. So it's also important to think about those things nowadays. So the e-booklet, I call the e-booklet, is just a template that I created and has the information that the programmers like to have in a very compact way. This is something that even if you have a website, I suggest you to send when trying to approach venues or festivals, to try to book gigs or try to apply for fondos también. Okay? Because in this e-booklet, you will see a few examples. You have the artist, the biography, so text is also important. Photos, videos, quotes. What are quotes? Menciones? No, the periódicos or
Citas.
citas. So another one is here, Sami Hong. So you can see there is a little bit, it's the same template. Social media website. Okay, I will send this template. Everyone use Canva here? See, this is a Canva template, so it's very easy to do your own. And that's a very nice thing to do a checklist of the things and to check out what you have and what you don't have yet. It's not that in the conservatory, when I teach in Amsterdam, in Utrecht and Den Haag, so 3 conservatories. In Utrecht, I teach a discipline that one of the assignments is really to create this e-booklet, and it's very nice because then the students realize, oh, I don't have a good picture, oh, I really don't have a good text. How can I do it? Then you start working on that. It's not that you have to have the booklet done right now, but you can think, "Ooh, I don't have like good pictures, so how can I do it? Oh, maybe I have someone who can do it for me. I pay in classes or something, or I have a good friend who has a good camera. We can do a photo shoot at least for now, until I can save some money to do it, something else, you know." So, oh, I'm not so good in writing a text, but I can write and ask someone to proofread, so someone who can read again, rewrite for you. So you can at least work on these things, because then you know that's important as well. Okay, so I'm not gonna go here. So we are gonna see what are the things, and I'm reacting to your question, that should be in an email. And I will show you an email that I sent. So always I say contact everyone directly and by name. There's nothing, really, it's so bad. I get sometimes emails saying, Mr. Tami, and like, Mr. Tami, okay, I'm not a Mr. Senor Tami. I'm like, no, I'm not Senor. If you know with whom you're talking, you know that I'm not a man. Also, another time was also like, dear, and then there was nothing. I'm like, this email is not for me. This is not addressed to me, it's not for me, it's a mistake. Or when it's too general, it's also, for me, I don't waste so much time. So contact everyone directly and by name is important. So know with whom you're talking. Show some little background knowledge. Remember we talked about checking like the connections or something, but also like before you contact, why you want to contact that venue? Do you know that venue? Do you know that festival? Check the website, see why you're oh, I saw that you program very nice bands like this, and my music is a bit similar to that. So if you show that you're talking to the person, and that you show that you're talking to the right person by also showing some background information, it's a great tip. Another thing is like, if you have a connection or a connector, mention it. A connector could be, let's say I give you a contact of someone, I said, you should really contact that person. I think your music would fit that venue. This is the contact. You can mention like, I got your contact through Tami and this and that. So that's also very interesting to know that connection and connectors are very important as well if you have them. Include a good quality video within the first sentence of your email. Do you remember that they will go and check the video on YouTube when they hear about you, when they get your email? Try to do it like the link already within the first sentences, because I know a lot of them check on a phone. So if they have to go all the way down the long email to find the link, maybe they don't have the time. But if they see the link already kind of in the first, screen, it's much better. So that's just a little trick. So you can send the booklet and you can keep it short, like don't have to write a lot of things. You can be very clear and create some urgency is also at least establishing the time and a reason. Right? So the important topics in an email, if you want to send them, it looks messy, but you will see the result of it. So address to the right person. If you have the first and last name, who I am, what I do. Do you have any connector, any connection? Which project you are talking about and when? What is the reason and what is the time frame? Link to the video. The reason why you're getting contact, you're on a gig, do what you want. The reason, a nice sales point, if something that works for you, let's say that's, I don't know, you already released the music or you had a nice collaboration with another musician that's kind of famous that can work for you. Everything that can work for you, you can put it there. The period date when establishing a time frame for random gigs, not specific dates, you can still use like I preferably before summer or something like that. So it's still with the time. A call to action, maybe a clear question like, would you like to book my band? Do you have the time to check? Let me know these things. And drag attention to the booklet. And if you have any referral letter from someone, you can use it to open doors, use it. So that's actually my email to, so I'm doing the bookings for these artists. So I said, dear Johan, blah, blah, blah. My name is Tami. I'm the international booking agent for the Brazilian pop star singer Lenini and the Dutch pianist Amarte Fonds. Nice to meet you. Milou from Cosmopolitan gave me your contact information. So this guy gave me the contact. He said, you should contact this person. Lenini and Martin will be touring duo in Europe with their beautiful project, The Bridge, during that period. And here's the link to one of the duo's brand new video clips. Click to the video, clear. They know what it is, who I am, what is the project, one link to the video. And then I start to talk a little bit about the show, like because this information works for me, and then we have a date confirmed. So this info works for me because I'm trying to get a gig in Sweden here, and this other gig that I got was in Oslo, so it was very in Norway, so it was very easy to fly. So I'm actually saying exactly the reason why I'm in contact, and then I talk about the specific dates because it's international tour, remember? So I had very specific dates. Cannot say, oh, whatever date, fine, no. And I just say, like, would you like to book them? Very straightforward question. And then I drag the attention to the e-booklet. So the e-booklet, this e-booklet is there because if they want to know more, instead of going to the website, it's also a trick if you don't have the website, you can also send the booklet. So they will not go to your website probably. They will just check the information in the booklet.
I have three brief questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first one is there is this quote more here in Malta. You need to go dramatic or failure to sell yourself. The first is you think that this quote is correct to apply in the real life, or it is a better way to only establish conversation with the people. And the second one is if you think that it is a good way to go with this engagement,
Yeah.
it is best to do by an email and social media, or it is better to do in person?
Yeah. Great. Very good questions. First of all, I will talk about a concept in marketing as well. And marketing means sales. Huh? Marketing is actually strategy for sales. In the Netherlands, there was also like a crowdfunding company that they did the research as well to see how many times the person who donates something, so who donated, gave money to the project, had to see the advertisement, the promotion, how many times they had to see to take action. And the average was 5 times. Okay? Then also, we have, let me see if I can find here, like the rule of 7 in marketing. Let me check here. I just want to, I want to show you this here. The marketing rule of 7 is very interesting because when you create marketing campaigns, we always have to think about a person needs to be exposed at least 7 times to your product until it takes any action, until it kind of remember you. Otherwise, we're like, oh. So that's why when we create marketing campaigns, we try to see like social media, newspaper, like so many different promotional actions that in the end people say, oh, all the time I'm hearing about this thing, so I'm gonna check, you know. So I agree with everything you said, with everything they are saying. I agree as well, because you have to go door by door, because this means you have to be proactive. You have to be proactive in this business. You have to create opportunities, for sure. Another thing is also like, if there is another approach, like social media, following on social media, being active on social media, connecting, it's just, you can think about as one other way that you expose people to your project. So you can always think about this rule of 7. I have to be persistent, I have to create opportunities for myself, but at the same time, I have other ways like going to networking events, like meeting in person, sending emails, being active on social media, trying to get gigs. So in the end, it's just like you create the opportunities as well by thinking about like, oh, I have to be kind of everywhere and be persistent and consistent as well with approaching like people. Do you understand the concept? Is it clear? So it's kind of interesting to know, because sometimes you think we are going to get the results immediately, but sometimes it's not. It's like many things. You create many opportunities also. So be aware of that too when you create a campaign, for a promotional campaign for your album or something. You also have to think, for people really to listen maybe to my music, I have to create strategies like campaigns for different ways that the people are like exposed to my content. Social media, different platforms, also emails, or when you talk or you have flyers, whatever. Okay? So here, maybe I will answer to your question, like if a concert hall didn't respond, what is a good thing to do? I say polite persistence. So there are some rules, like tell me how many times should I follow up an email that is not like unpolite? You can say, well, number 3 is a good number for whatever reason. We say, 3 times is okay. Try to find a way to be as kind as possible each time. So I'm just following up, or I don't know how we would say that in Spanish, but I'm just following up to the email. Did you have the time to check? Would be great. So like friendly reminder. You can create opportunities to email the venues. And I will tell you something very interesting, why I do that. So let's say you send an email trying to get a gig. And then you didn't get a reaction, you send again, and then you got a reaction. But then again, you're waiting for like the confirmation. And then you're like, well, it's been like 3 weeks, I don't hear anything, I already sent an email. What you could do is to really think about opportunities, how to be polite. Think about you're giving information. Why you ask about answer for your question. So let's say I put it here. To email the venue, press, article, new song, new video. Let's say in the meantime, you release the single. You send an email to the venue, they didn't react, they are not back. Then you have like a single. You can send an email to them and say, hi, this is Tami again. In the meantime, we released a new single. Here's the single, you can still listen. We got maybe some other gigs in between. Then you can say, in the meantime, we also got, booked to play in these festivals, in these venues. But we are still interested in playing your venue. Do you have would you have the possibility to book us or something?
What's time to say this person doesn't answer me and I por aquel tiempo sería prudente mandar otro.
See, so what I say is always like, think about like you are giving information, okay? But of course, there's a moment that you have to stop because if they don't react, they don't react. Maybe then another project you can try again. But what you can do is really like to, let's say if you have any kind of thing that you think is important to let the programmer, so the person who books, know, because it might be something that they will be waiting to decide to book you, you could send. Another thing is just like saying, I'm finalizing the tour or something, or I really would like to know if you can let me know. Really give a kind of, not ultimatum, but that's, just, it's the last time I'm actually following up, just to know for sure, because I still would like to play there. If you no reaction, there's no reaction. You cannot do anything else. Unless you have the phone number and you have already somehow contact and you can call or, but it is an option as well. So always a tip as well, like always react to the same email. Do not start a new email every time you want to try to get, because if we are interested, we will see, what is this about? And then we'll scroll down the emails and say, this was a communication. If you start everything again, it's very confusing for us to actually check everything back. And then give a call if you really feel like, and if you know that the person is okay, but just be in mind that not everyone likes phone calls, but it's still a possibility, okay? Is it clear? Bookings? More questions about it? We have 20 minutes, yes.
So once you took this theme about the emails, what do you think or what do you hear about this automatization of emails and the section of different campaigns? So we suppose that we have already.
Maybe you can speak so everyone
No.
can hear? No, they cannot hear.
So suppose we do this benchmark and you have all this information of the people, and then you want to book or maybe only let you know that you exist. And you start to sending these emails. What do you think about these automatizations, about the different emails and the different sections of the emails? Like, we suppose that the first email you send it to 200 people, but it is an automatization email, and you have answer of 50 of them. You segment that 50 and go to another campaign, like more specifically. My question is more focused on that. What do you think about the automatizations, the different segmentations of this part of the marketing?
So you don't mean like the bookings, but really like newsletters, really like sending out the information. Yeah, it's not bookings, right? I see. I really think it's still very valid. I actually tell my students to do it and to really have a nice mailing program that you can segment your audience. So let's say you have maybe audience of like really like music consumers, so like fan base, but you also have other ones that are journalists, that are programmers. You can actually create different campaigns for each of these target audience, what we call. But I think, well, the whole thing is, it's not about quantity, it's really about the quality of your contacts, okay? Because in the end, you want the engagement rate to be high. You don't want to have thousands and then nobody is reacting to you, nobody even reads. So I still believe it, but I don't believe on mass mailing. You can create segmentations and use mailing programs, but with an intention, because there's nothing. Think about yourself. Like you get an email, people like call you another name, or doesn't have an idea of who you are and ask you something. You're like, what is the point? Do not waste my time and yours. So you have to have the intention, like why you're doing that. That's why I always say define the reason. What is the reason why you want to email? And that's also like a call to action. We always say that when we send a newsletter in marketing, you always have to have a clear idea why you're sending a newsletter. What is the call to action? What is the purpose of that? Oh, I have a tour coming up, so I want to sell tickets. But in the meantime, I also want to tell what I'm busy with right now with other projects, or what is coming up, or I just finished. But then you have a call to action. So you have to understand what you want and with whom you're talking, and then adjust to that, but just not give the feeling that you're sending to. I don't believe in quantity only. Quality is more important. If you can combine both, that's the perfect match. Okay. Well, I can tell you something, that I have some people working with me, and they are like starting. So they write me. I have many students who write me, Tami, I really would like to be like to be a trainee, estagiario. Sí, ¿cómo? Entrenado, sí, entrenado. Sí, es una buena forma también. Entonces, yeah, I have a trainees with me, and then based on that, they are understanding how the market works, but also they are meeting people that I work with. So you start your own things, you know? And I think it's really interesting if you have someone who you could work maybe for either. I don't like for free. I pay something, you know. I don't pay the full hourly that I get. Of course, not the case, but because I have a lot of experience. But it's a very nice thing if you can approach maybe musicians, that you can say, can I help you with some production to get some more experience? And then from that, maybe it's a nice match. And they say, well, don't you want to work with me? It's a great way to do it like this. So you can have the education, but contacts also very important. Someone who can open doors for you. E o que queres hacer? ¿Estudas music business? Muy bueno, muy bueno. Esto. But this is a way to do it. This is really a way. You see like mentors, like people that you think, wow, they are doing really what I wanted to do. And say, can I learn? Can I be there? So then you see, you understand some tips and tricks. You meet new people. Maybe from there they will say, oh, you worked with, like, I hope it works for my trainees. That they say, they worked with Tami, so she trained them, so we know how she works. Maybe they work the same, so we can also ask her. Or even me, when I am too busy, I say, well, you should talk to them. I can give you the contact. That's a great way to do it. I started actually working, when I started working professionally, I actually started in a traineeship, like a, ¿cómo? Entrenamiento. Sí. Esto es similar con portugués, pero es treinamento. So, sí, con treinamento empecé cuando estaba estudiando. Entonces estaba trabajando gratis, pero...
Trainee es más como pasante. Pasante.
¿Cómo?
Como pasante.
Pasante. Ah, okay. Better to do in English. You see, there are some words that I just create in my mind and then also work. Yes, but I started as a trainee, as also like working for free, and then they said, she works fine, so we can give you like some travel costs, some things, and then in the end, they hired me, and then I was working in this agency for many years. It started like that because I wanted to work in the industry. I knew that because it was already something I was doing, and I was studying. And my academic background is communication management, and I specialize in marketing. So I thought, well, I can do some stage in marketing. Then I was doing actually production and everything. So it was very good for me. That's how I started. And my boss was Dutch, so de Holanda, em Brasil. Entonces empecé a trabajar con Holanda y me mudé para lá. Entonces vivo en Holanda por causa de mi trabajo también. Sí. Entonces empezó con un trabajo gratis. Aquí estoy en México representando a Holanda. Es muy interesante. Tenemos... sí, sí.
When the community management of the social media of the artist, does the artist have some access to those social media to publish their own things, or is totally managed by other people, by the social media managers?
Great. Actually, I can show you how we do it here. Let me check. You have. I don't believe in in social media that the artist is not there at all. So that's for me not something I would say that's nice. Sorry, gonna go fast. I told you I can be here in Mexico for a year, so I can start living here and I teach you every day. I have material for every day. So what we do? So like right now as we speak, I have a quintet that we are working. So in the Netherlands, and they hire my agency to do the social media campaign. So I have a person who helps me, Romy. She is my social media specialist together with me. So how we do it? We actually ask the artists if they want to post everything themselves or if they want us to schedule the posts. Together we create the content. We give an idea of what we want. We write the captions for them, but ultimately is he checking all the texts, seeing if it's something that's... we had sometimes, that's really a text that I would never write. I don't want you to post, but I can rewrite the same idea with my own words. That's a perfect match. So it's difficult sometimes to get the inspiration, but once you give the inspiration, maybe it's easier for you to create your post. So what we do is this. So it's very hard to see it, but it's very simple, actually. This is just an Excel sheet. And we have the calendar, and then we have what is called milestones. What is a milestone? It's just like something, it's not a meta, but it's like it happens that day. Let's say a concert happens that day. A release happens that day. That's a milestone.
Metas.
Metas. Todas metas. Sí, metas. And then you have, in this part here, idea and concept. So we write just an idea. Together with my team, we create a strategy. So like a milestone in this case, here would be the 15th of October would be a concert. So it happens on that day. So I put everything that I'm working with the client. So album release, single release, concert, everything. I don't put things like that are not a milestone. If it's just something on the go, I leave it also open for them. But if we're talking about strategic things, like about a tour, about a campaign or something, we do it like milestones. Then we create the concept idea. So maybe a TBT, a Throwback Thursday. On Thursday, we can do something like this, or we can share photos. So you start creating like what kind of idea of posts. And then you can also say what kind of material you want to post. I want to do a reels, I want to do a carousel, I want to do this, I want to do that. But then you think, I'm doing too many reels or too many static image. So you have an overview of the things you're doing, you're about to do in your social media account. Based on that, we create this and we ask also we say like we start the paid ads, so like campanha paga. Nem sei se é assim que fala, but start of paid ads, end of paid ads, so everything is planned there. Once you have this, you start creating in just a Word document the captions, los textos y también las hashtags y tudo. So the first thing is you start creating the concept, you know what you want, you go to the second phase, which is like what I want that day, what I'm going to write. And then you have a kind of editorial line, you have like an idea of all the text. And then my clients go there and say, ooh, I don't like this text, I'm going to change. That's why I have here okay, means that they read, they changed, and I can post. When the text is in gray, means I already scheduled the post for them. They don't have to do anything anymore. Just they can be in a bad mood, not wanting to post anything that will be like a post that is strategic. I, of course, leave some time, some space here. Like here you can post whatever you want, but it's strategically the posts that are important for reasons of your profession, they are there. The other days you post like pictures of your dog. That's why your question answer like. Then you post pictures of your dog, what you're eating or what you're doing. But at least you have these very important things. Okay, so it's a mix, a combination. But my clients, they don't like us to post. They like to post themselves because they don't want us to check everything on their social media. That's fine. So we create everything and said, okay, just. We can post some things. The other thing is that they are managing the things. Okay, so you can do that by doing like on the Instagram account. You can already schedule everything from there, like this. So you can see what day you want to schedule the post. So you can do from Instagram. But you can also do from Meta Business Suite. That is actually their Facebook and Instagram connection. And you can really create everything and schedule the post. So that's how I do it with my clients. Okay? More questions? I'm going to give one tip before we go. I have the Canva, which I think you guys know already. But I have this light trick. I love this. So it is like the video lip. There is also this AI editor. So I create artificial intelligence editor. So I just select the material I want. And then I said, please make a reels for me. of these 19 seconds or something. It just creates immediately. And then another thing, this beat leap, so on the left side, is like a little app that they create videos based on the beat of the song. And you can recognize the first, the second, the third beat. So it's very nice, and it creates a kind of video already, like everything edited based on the song. So it's really cool. So you can see the mood. You can also choose a mood. Oh, this music. So you can also check the mood, if it's more energetic, more melodic, and everything. I love these apps. It's paid app, but it's worth it. If you want to have it on the go, make nice content, create content. Another thing, before we finish, is the CapCut. CapCut, do you know? Great. I love CapCut, especially the integration with TikTok. So like this, you can get the templates from TikTok. If you just go there and say CapCut templates, then I just do it like this. So you can open the template on CapCut, and then you can have a very nice video with your own things. So it's cool. And another thing that I really like the CapCut is because they recognize they have all the languages there. They put the captions, the subtitles on the videos for you. It's very cool. It's easy, and you can edit very easily as well. One more question. Yes.
Yeah. How could you help an artist to connect better with their audience? Yeah, mostly social media.
So first of all, I ask my clients to change the profile to a professional profile, so you can have the access to the insights. Insights is really good, and you can get access to everything you want about your audience. And I think also you can see what kind of content your audience likes, and you can create then content based on that. So that's one thing that we do when we check the insights. So let's say you have, that's why posting a lot is good, frequently, because the more posts you have, more insights, real insights you have. Because of course, if you have 2 posts in a month, they will say, what is the most performing post that people like? It will be just one of the 2. But if you give many different content, and then you start trying out things, you will see, my audience really likes, my fans really like when I have my face in there, or when I'm improvising, when I'm doing something. So you start understanding who they are. Another way to do it, like, again, I have a material for, like, I have a whole Instagram for musicians course. I'm not gonna go into that, but here you can see some things of like a professional dashboard, and then you can see really like what are the main locations, age, followers, where they are available, like when they are most available, and also like what are the top reels, top stories, top everything. So when you start analyzing that, you understand your audience. Like me, I didn't like so much to do videos like me talking to people, like talking to the camera, and I'm like, I'm so stupid. But the moment I start doing it, I felt like people really reacted to my things. And I'm like, I understand. I can make a beautiful animated video where I ask the same questions. If I just put my face there with my telephone and let me just say some things, I get much more engagement. So I know that my audience prefers that I am there than having something in between. So I invest much more in content like that. If you see my Instagram, I have a lot of things that I'm talking like straight to the camera. So we start to understand that. So we start analyzing the insights. Another thing that you can do, it's very interesting. Again, I'm sorry, we're gonna go like this, but Okay. Available tools. Okay. There are many tools. Again, I'm not going to go into that, but one thing that I really like that works very well for engagement with fans and expanding a little bit more the fan base is the collaborations. Right? Just a second. I have to go like this. Collaborations. This is a great way to expand your fan base to the collaboration post of an artist or a label or a venue. So I suggest my clients to also do collaboration posts with other artists. Maybe record something in the studio, just a small thing, or like just at home setting or something. Just put something online and make a collaborative post so you can reach out to the fan base of the person you're collaborating. That's a great tool. And nowadays, it's not only for one collaboration post. Before it would be one, it's up to 20 now. You can have 20 collaborators in your posts. Before it was just one. So it's great. We work in these strategies, okay? Let me see here if there's anything else about this. I think I might have to stop in a bit, but I wanted to show some things here. Another thing, we talk about collaboration. There is a huge difference between mentioning an account and tagging an account. It's very different. When you mention an account, I have to stop, huh? Yeah. When you mention an account, let's say LG Art Center, you're just saying, hey, I mentioned you in my post. But if you tag, this is El Cuba here, it's really a tagging thing. So when you tag the picture or the image, means that this tagging the post will appear in the tab of tagging on the account of the other person. Because if you go to the LG Art Center, nothing is there. It's just that the person or the account knows that you mentioned. But if you tag, it's going to be there. That's also a great way to people discover you if you tag other accounts. What is this? Let me check. The account. I will follow. There are little strategies that we do to expand and see and test who your audience is. Guys, thanks so much. We have to... tenemos que encerrar. ¿Sí? ¿Encerrar? Encerrar, sí. But thanks so much for being so open to listen to my things. I know that's not always an easy thing to understand everything, but I hope now you have a little bit more information. Remember about the exploring part. See, check possibilities. And I will send some material. I hope it reaches you. And if you have any question, you can let me know. And then I need this 1 second because I want you guys to, okay. I just want to say thank you. And if you want, you can follow me on Instagram. And I always try to put some nice information there. This is the Instagram. If you want to follow me, you can also ask me questions there. Okay? Thanks so much. Sorry for taking a bit of time.